What's up, Bremerton? Josh Farley with the Kitsap Sun on stage at the Admiral Theater, which was recently remodeled to the tune of $1.2 million. I'm going to show you around, and I'm going to top it off with 5 total stories that you just got to know about happening in Bremerton this week. Welcome back to this edition of the Bremerton Beat Blast, sponsored by the Admiral Theater. Story number 1 today is the Admiral Theater. I'm on stage here. It's got new carpets, new seats, a state-of-the-art sound system, a new foyer, and a recently redone marquee to go with. Staff here is getting ready for Friday's season opener, the Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
That took all summer long, but we've got just about wrapped up. They're still working on a few minor things, but it's going to be great. And the community, I think, will love it. It's going to be fantastic, and we're looking forward to a great season.
Story number 2 on the Beat Blast this week. Alita Reese is 10 years old, and she loves to play football. The 5th grader at Hawk Elementary in Central Kitsap is on the Chico Pee Wee squad. But there's just one problem. She only weighs 50 pounds. She's too small to play with those of her own age group on what's called the B string. But she's too old to play with those who are her size on the C string. Her family petitioned the Central Council of the Pee Wee Football Association, but they did not approve her request to play down, so she's had to be on the sidelines this season. She and her family are hopeful that in the years ahead they can come up with a new plan where it is not just age-based, but also weight-based for those who play not only in the Chico system, but all across the league.
I think I should have been able to play for the smaller team because how skinny I am and how small I am. Everybody on B string is at least 100 pounds more than me. I felt like I could get hurt really easy.
But I really admire that she didn't give up and she chose to continue to practice every day, and on game days, although she cannot suit up with her teammates, she is allowed to be on the field as a team manager.
Story number 3. Who here remembers when Lowe's was located on the inside of Bremerton city limits off of Wheaton Way? It's not hard to remember because nothing has gone into the building where it was once located for the last 15 years. Until now. Wilco, a farm cooperative, is moving into Bremerton, and they're set to take over the space. The store chain was formed in the mid-1960s as part of the Willamette Valley Cooperatives, or Wilco for short. They'll sell supplies for everything from agribusinesses to things for your backyard. They've applied for permits with the city's Department of Community Development, but we have no opening date as yet. Story number 4. Did you know that developers in the city of Bremerton can receive a property tax exemption if they build new multifamily units? The exemption helps to spur development in the city by offering 8 to 12-year property tax exemptions to sweeten the prospects here, especially if low to moderate income units are built. The policy does cost existing property owners, though. If all of the developments that were taking advantage of this exemption were to be built, and that is a big if, it would cost a city taxpayer who owns a $200,000 home about $50 a year. Here's a look at the projects which have or are due to receive the exemption from the city. 2 of Sound West Group's projects, the recently built 80-unit Spyglass Hill and the still under construction 27-unit Quincy Square, have received approval for the 8-year exemption. Projects yet to be constructed, but that have been approved by the city, include the 109-unit Rebecca's Point near Evergreen Rotary Park, the 58-unit 242 Burwell project, and the Sage, a new 29-unit apartment complex slated for Lower Wheaton Way near the defunct Bay Bowl and Harrison Medical Center. A 7th development, the 111-unit Water, Wind, and Sky project, is also slated to receive the exemption. And finally, story number 5 today. Last Thursday, I attended a funeral for a veteran in South Kitsap. But it was no ordinary memorial service. It was a Civil War veteran whose remains went missing from Retzel Veterans Home for 103 years. At long last, he's been interred at a nearby cemetery.
Zachariah Strucker, he came from a small farming community, but the entire town formed Company A of the 48th Illinois. Having a drummer was necessary to do the cadence and give the commands, and so he was an important member. And at 16, to imagine being in that kind of combat, I know you veterans can understand this, I'm not a veteran, but to be in the war that lasted 4 years, it was an incredible event.
103 years in storage. I don't know why he got left behind. It is not the policy of the Veterans Home to allow their people to get left behind like that. I know better. But bureaucracy happens.
He probably was one of the first residents when this home was established. What is really sad is that he has been missing for 103 years. That is 103 memorial days by his headstone. That is countless holidays, Christmases, where he didn't get a wreath, where nobody put a flag.
Every veteran matters. From the first days of the American Revolution until now with our soldiers in the Middle East and Afghanistan, every soldier who has sought to honor America by his service deserves our honor in return.
That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Bremerton Beat Blast. One more note, I know that a lot of our hearts and minds are thinking about those victims and their families and the tragedy that occurred at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas this past weekend. It's both saddening and stunning, but it is also a time for conversation and reflection for many of us around the country, including right here in Bremerton. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody, and we'll see you again next week. This week's Bremerton Beat Blast soundtrack is brought to you by Small Tribes, featuring Chasing the Light off of their album, The Good Time People. Small Tribes includes Brady Cates, Cody Cates, Mark Harris, and Matt Melanson. They'll be headlining the Minute Saloon this Saturday, and the show begins at 9 p.m.